Good evening, and this is the start of the February 18th, 2025 meeting of the Needham Commission on Disabilities, taking place via Zoom. Welcome, everyone. It looks as though we have no guests tonight or visitors, so we will get right to it. First,
Two more people coming in now. Maureen, I believe this is Party.
I continue to have problems with that link that's embedded in the invitation, the meeting invitation. It doesn't take me to the meeting. It tells me I'm supposed to sign in as a panelist, and then it doesn't let me. And then I have to go back to the agenda and I try that link instead. So somehow that link in the invitation, this has happened to me probably 3 or 4 months in a row now. When I just go to my calendar and just try to click on that link that's in the invitation.
Yeah, they changed it a little bit, but you're supposed to have a different link for panelists.
Other people have that problem, or if I'm just categorized as a panelist by accident or something, I don't know.
I had that problem every month except this month. I went to Tatiana's, just her update or something, a meeting invited.
Video now started.
That's what I did as well. I went to the link that Tatiana sent versus the agenda one. And it worked like a charm, and even joined me as a panelist.
Yeah.
But shouldn't the invitation be correct? Because people have that right on their calendar, and I think that's where most of us are going to try to access the meeting. Well, should they match at least? I think it should be.
Yeah.
It makes me get here late because I'm kind of fiddling around each month. So maybe it's just me, but.
Yeah, so we can cut and paste. Maybe Tatiana, you could just send us a new link for the agenda, and then we'll cut and paste it from the link.
Because so here's the thing: you're joining as a panelist, and so the link that goes on the agenda gets published to the public.
Oh, that's right.
Then have the public join as panelists.
That's correct.
So,
yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out how to get the panelist link to all of you.
Well, you send the email. We all got it via email. So if you. The trick is just to find that email, and it came from you inviting us to join as a panelist. So that's the one that we should use. And you can get there from the agenda. I have in the past, but it is tricky.
Yeah, I did eventually get in, but just I feel bad because I'm late now and I've just been kind of fiddling around. And so I just always try to, initially I go to just the link in my calendar, and then it's kind of trips me up. But
some more. I'll have to do some more. I'll try to figure this out for you, Maureen, because I don't know. I used to be able to just say send panelist invite, copy panelist, and I don't see that option anymore. So
okay.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you didn't miss much. I had just
well, that's good.
Everyone, and said we had no guests or visitors. So we will proceed with the review of the minutes from our January meeting. I hope you all had a chance to read them. Are there any comments, corrections, concerns about the minutes from January?
Not for me. They look good.
Nope. No concerns. They look, very thorough. It was a long meeting. It felt like we covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, I wrote to Alexa right afterwards to say how lucky we are to have her, because you capture so much detail so clearly and in such an organized way. It's really so essential for us to have that. So thank you again.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks.
So do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I will make one.
I'll second.
A second. I just got a message from you, Tatiana.
Yeah,
okay.
I sent everyone the link, the panelist link again. I figure out how to do it, so you should all have it. Yeah.
Great. So back to the accepting of the minutes. I'll do a roll call beginning with Tatiana.
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Alexa.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Party. Did you hear me?
Oh, I think she's muted. Party, I think you're muted.
Pardee,
Can you hear us?
do you accept the minutes? Maybe, would you, we just had a motion to accept the minutes as written from January. Looks like she's having trouble hearing us. It looks like you're muted.
Yes.
Are you able to change so that you're not muted? Pardee? Mm,
I can't. Do you want to leave and come back? Sometimes that
Yeah.
helps. Yes. And she might be getting help.
Unmute button. Audio now on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
excellent.
we
Yes.
can.
Sorry. Okay, yes.
Wonderful. I
Sorry.
don't know if you were able to hear me, but I was just,
Yeah, I could hear you, just I couldn't unmute myself. Sorry.
okay.
Okay, so
We're finishing the roll call for approving the minutes from January.
okay, so I agree.
Excellent.
Sorry for that.
Okay. The minutes are accepted.
Pasted from clip Alt V. Video now stopped.
Next is the
Video now
chairperson's
started.
report. We start with a reminder that next month we have switched to a different date again to accommodate Tatiana's travels or
No, no,
meetings.
no, not my travels. I have to be at the select board meeting for the town manager search for meeting.
That's right. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So we're going
Hold the
ahead with
audio.
March 11th. It's a Tuesday, but the second rather than the third Tuesday of March.
I won't be able to join. Unfortunately, I'm traveling for my sister's wedding.
Also
Oh,
fun.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I'm going to Malaysia. So yeah, I
Oh
will
my
come
gosh.
back March 12th. So unfortunately, at that time, I think I will be at the airplane coming back.
yeah.
I will miss it.
Well, we wish you a good trip.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The next item of business is the accessible Halloween event, which we talked about last month. And I wrote to Reverend John Gage at the Congregational Church about what they've been holding for several years now, the trunk or treat in the church parking lot. And he was thrilled. He was so excited
Oh,
and
nice.
said, what do we do
Hold the
next?
audio now unmuted.
So I said that we'd be talking this month. It seems so far away, but it's not too soon to maybe begin to think generally about what we want to do. But, the church wants to, be in partnership with us to plan this event. And I'm eager to hear from Karen, because I think she's the one who was in touch with the parents who initially brought this idea up about what other kinds of things they're looking for at a Halloween event. What the church has always done is this, trunk or treat with the trunks decorated and handing out candy, with the first hour of the event being sensory um,
Friendly.
friendly. I guess that's the word they use. Um, and they're willing to do whatever we think. I told them that Rocket might be coming and there might be a food truck, and he said, good, good, good. So they like those ideas. And I mean, because I'm a member of that church, I think I will serve as a liaison between our group and the church group, although I've never been part of the planning of it at church. But is there anything big about this event that we want to think about that needs, several months planning? here we are in February and, 8 months away.
I would just ask about, do they normally have a rain date, Jeannie, like when they have their regular event? I think that's just something that's going to be hard to bring inside because the whole point is that you can stay outside and be, you know, just be very accessible and easy to go up to all the different cars. And so I would think there'd need to be a rain date just in case the weather looked pretty gross.
Yes, there always is a rain date. I'm not sure they ever had to use it, but there
Okay.
always is one. Um, I think it's the following Saturday. I don't think they do it on a Sunday. I think it's the following, which, depending on how the dates go, could end up being after Halloween. I'm not really sure, but
Mhm.
they do always plan a rain date. But that's a good point. I will make sure that um, that's included, but I'm pretty sure it will be.
Okay.
Do we know about how many people have come in the past?
That's a good question. He always announces it in church, and I'm always blown away. Like 200
Oh,
kids, or
really?
I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
it's huge. It's
Oh,
That's a
wow.
lot.
huge. It's not, it's run by the church, or had been run by the church, but they advertise to the whole community,
Mhm.
and people from all over town and other towns have come. It's been quite a big event.
That's great.
Jeannie, is this something that's open to a, is there like an age limit? I'm just thinking, like, my son probably went trick or treating until he was about 23. I mean, he just loved it and wanted to keep going. And I don't know if there's any kind of age restriction that's imposed or if it's just open.
I think it's open. Yeah,
I think it should be, but I didn't know
absolutely.
how it was run in the past.
Yeah. Um, there will be cars and their trunks open in the parking lot, and people
Right.
meandering between, among the cars. And then if we
Mm,
have other events, the only thing I would think of, if we ended up having something like a bounce house, that would probably restrict the bigger kids. But
Yeah.
otherwise, there's never been an age limit.
okay.
And
I'm
in
sorry, did
fact,
you mean?
usually they involve the youth group of the church in handing out candy and being assisting any young ones that might be scared or need help in any way. So
Mhm.
there will be youth there that were, middle school, high school, or at least they have been in the past.
Okay.
I have a question. Did you mention that the first hour for the kids that inclusive, the sensibility, that was the first hour, then it was open up to the public? Wasn't that what we were
Yes.
trying to get at? Okay,
And if we think we want more than an hour, we could probably
okay.
change that. Um,
Yeah, so are we focusing on the first hour or we are focusing on the whole event?
well, that's a good question. Hmm.
You don't have to answer it now. I'm just saying it's like, we have these special events for that first hour that are going to change when the additional hour comes. You take the inclusive, the sounds, the noise, and all that stuff away.
Right.
So does the church want those separate? Because I know when we do the event for the inclusive day, everything is totally different than open house, you know? So you kind of separate both of those because that's the reason for the first hour. You want those kids to have a quiet, relaxing night and not a scary night
Right.
versus the additional hour where it changes. So that's what I think we have to focus on.
Okay. Well, I think once we know what kinds of things the parents have in mind that they would like to see there, if they are, I mean, I would think some of those will carry over well to the general part of it, but
Right.
I would say, let's focus on the first hour, the sensory friendly hour.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that will be what we'll talk about with the church, I guess, is to make sure that we have a smooth transition.
Right.
and make sure that the sensory friendly hour is free from noise and other distractions.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
And also, how big is the parking lot? Because I can probably get the fire department there. To hand out candy. No bells, no whistles, nothing, just to hand out candy. Like,
Which church?
It's the church on Great Plain across from the post office.
Or
Oh, okay.
Linden, yeah.
And the parking lots
small.
in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know how to, if I had to estimate the number of parking spots, it's 75 maybe. I mean, it's pretty big. It's an odd shape because there's some spaces across the back of the church and then it kind of forms an L and goes all the way back to the street that's behind there. Maple, I guess it is. Um,
But there's plenty of on-street parking. So even if they close that parking lot, it's plenty of on-street parking for the visitors.
yes. Well, I don't know if I'd say plenty, but
Well, they can do on-street parking
they can park on
and,
Great Plain Avenue and they can park on Linden
and Maple,
and
Maple
Maple.
Towers.
Yes.
Hmm.
But if we're talking 200 people, that's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming clear that there are a lot of details to work out
Yeah.
to make this run smoothly, but I'd like to begin with finding out a little bit more about what the parents who requested this, what they're looking for. Dear. I'm sorry. Carol, can you take over for a second?
Sure. So is there any other discussion about the Halloween party? Any other questions or comments? Okay, so
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify something. Do we already have a date for that? Are we saying the 25th?
I am not sure. So we can
I'm
confirm.
only mentioning it because we might want to consider having it not on the actual Halloween weekend, because this year alone, and I don't know if this was one of the events, but there were 4 different town events going on related to Halloween and fall. Remember,
Okay.
so Kelly?
Yeah.
So we may not want to do it on the same
Mm.
Halloween weekend as everybody.
Yeah, because I believe the rec center does a big Halloween town. It's huge. They have to do like 3 shifts through the town of trick-or-treaters. That usually falls on the Saturday or a Sunday. So without a calendar in front of me, we definitely have to check the dates.
All right, well, I now have a calendar in front of me, so the 25th is on a Saturday this year. So, Jeannie, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah. Do you remember the date?
I would think the church is probably doing it on that Saturday, the 25th.
Okay, because Tatiana's saying there's a number of other things going on in the
Mhm.
town and that we might want to consider a different date.
Only because it happened this year, there were like 4 competing events in town, which one strains, probably officers call upon ability to get the police and fire involved. And other I don't know how families decide where they're going, but
Yeah,
right.
I do know last year they had the trick or treat event around town, and then you also had the high school craft fair in town. And the craft
yeah.
fair got hit because everybody was trick or treating. So it hurts one business after another when you have so many events in one town. So the church might have to look at their dates.
Okay,
I mean,
I
it is a
will,
little bit time sensitive though. I mean, Halloween,
It is.
Yeah. And
It
what
is.
time? I think that the trick or treat around town is kind of early, I think, as I recall. It starts in the morning. I don't
It
think it would
does.
go as late as something that would be happening at the church. I don't think, but it could make for a long day if families want to do both.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
but would they want to do both? I mean, unless they had multiple children, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And the fair should be over at that point if they're having it again at the same weekend.
What is the other event? I missed that.
The high school craft fair, it's huge.
Right, and was there another Halloween event?
Yeah, it was the rec center, the Rosemary Rec Center does a townwide trick or treating. They do it in shifts from like say like 10 to 1, they take a break to 1:30 to 2. They do so many shifts and it affects all the stores in town.
Yeah, it's the kids just walking around Needham
Yeah.
Center basically to
And you
go to
don't
the different
want
stores.
those kids to come into the inclusive hour that we're trying to plan with the church, because then you don't want to say no to those kids, but
Right,
this is the quiet hour for the special kids, almost for an invite only, almost. Then
right,
it opens up to the public for the church. So it's
okay,
basically the church has to figure it out.
okay,
So maybe we could share that, Jeannie. You were talking about working ahead since we have some time, that this might be important information to relay to them.
okay. I will do that.
I did just look it up quickly on Facebook, and it looks like the high school craft fair has been announced for Saturday, October 25th, 2025,
Oh,
from
And
9
I
to
wo-
3.
and I work that, so I won't even be able to be at the church.
What's the
okay.
timing of the event? I was thinking later. I was thinking 5 o'clock or something, but am I off on that? Why did I think it was later?
I
I
don't
don't know
have
why.
the numbers in front of me, but my recollection is like mid to late afternoon, not
Okay.
morning, maybe like 12 to 3 or something like that,
Oh, okay, early, yeah.
I think. It's not at dark. Definitely, it's not
Mm-hmm.
when it's dark. And the Rosemary Rec, when does that take place? The timing during the day? All day?
I'm not sure if they posted it yet.
Okay. All right, well, we will figure this all out, and
Yeah.
I'm sure kids would love to have Halloween stretched over a couple of weekends, so
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a fun, and then they can participate in ours or maybe the other ones as well, so stretch it out.
yeah, and yeah, because the real trick or treating in the neighborhoods is going to be going on that night. So presumably,
okay, I will follow up with the church. Um, the next item is, well, we talked last month when Maureen Gallagher was joining us about accessible housing in Needham. And we were, we talked about trying to find out how to find out what there is. Did anyone make any inquiries? Do we have any updates on that?
I don't know. Was it assigned to anybody? I don't
No.
recall.
I have
Okay.
to go look at the minutes.
I don't remember seeing that, but I could certainly reach out. I know there's the town housing specialist that supposedly has an inventory of units, everything from, affordable and including accessible. I believe she does. Um, I could call her. I mean, at
Yeah.
least email her and just tell her we're thinking about this. If she's not the right person, then who can she direct me to?
Okay, and last month when we met, the town hadn't voted, or we didn't know the results of the vote, which
So,
obviously
I'm sorry,
failed.
I think I had that action item, there wasn't enough, there's not been enough weeks since between.
Yeah, that's
Allison
okay.
Steinfeld, is that who we're thinking about? The
What's
housing,
that?
Allison Steinfeld, the housing specialist?
Person who took over from Karen Centerborg?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can, should we see if she wants to come to our March meeting?
Oh, yeah,
That'd
that
be
would be
great.
great.
Let me do that right now.
Okay, then we'll transition right into your report, Tatiana.
So I don't have a lot of a big of an update. The letters to the downtown businesses regarding accessibility to enter their premises were sent out to the list that Karen provided, both to the business, occupant and the building owners. Now, the contact information on those letters went to Karen, so I don't know if she has heard from anyone. And it is on Commission on Disabilities letterhead. So So I don't know, hopefully I mean, she hasn't said anything to me about hearing from anyone, but they did go out, I believe early February or end of January. So they must have been received by now.
And those were for businesses in downtown Needham Center, correct?
Yes, she sent me a list of businesses she wanted me to approach, including the Needham, Bowlway, some of the shops along Chapel Street here that have steps to either get down to or up to. We did exclude Bagels Fest and one more business that has since gone out of business.
Right.
The final list was sent to Karen. This I can actually share that. See which businesses were included.
Yeah, because I have a question about putting new businesses on the list. While we wait for Karen to get back to us about what response, if any, she had, because there's a business in Needham Heights that is not accessible. Needham Eye Associates. It's on Hillside. And you can't, there's stairs down into it. So my mom, for example, has to find a new optometrist because she can't get in and out of the building. And I've talked with them and they said it's been an issue for years, but there's no other way in or out of the building and there's no plans to do anything about it. So I was just wondering if I don't know what could be done, but if we could, send them a letter or sort of what our approach is to other businesses outside of those we identified in Needham Center.
So it was Shop Mickey, Pura Vida, Tin Rabbit, Needham Upholstery,
Yep.
Needham Bowlway, and Glisman Orthodontics.
What was the last one?
Glisman Orthodontics.
And Greenhead Rose.
Okay.
So if there are more businesses, I mean, we can certainly include them, but.
I mean, and do we want to just do this as a pilot and sort of see how we get before we start sending any more letters? Or I just was sort of curious about it.
I think it's a good idea to wait and see what kind of response we get.
Okay.
And people may, be very nice. We may get no response. People may be mad because they're in an old building and there's nothing they can do, or, so we should just see.
Full credit to Karen. The letter was very nicely written. It was like,
it was. Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, how dare you? It was more like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah. I was in the store Shop Mickey sometime in December, and I mentioned it to her that I didn't mention my association with the commission. I just mentioned, hey, I happen to notice that you kind of can't get into this store if you're in a wheelchair or anything. And she was so oblivious. And I'm like, do you ever think about maybe getting a portable ramp or something? And she didn't even know they existed. And it just didn't seem to her to be a problem. And she was, even though I was expressing concern, it was just like right over her head. She wasn't the owner. I will say that she was an employee of some kind. But it was just interesting that it seemed like there was a disconnect. Like she didn't quite get that this is kind of a serious issue, and it just didn't seem to register with her. So maybe the owner of the business might be a little bit more, I don't know, just a little more aware.
Mm-hmm.
And the private businesses don't have to be accessible, correct? So maybe they have enough business.
No, but I mean, I think the letter is more of a friendly reminder, or like I said, it's not punitive. It's like, hey, we're the Commission on Disabilities. We've seen some creative things. If you've thought about this, maybe we have some reference we can share with you. And the last thing is the film series that we've been talking about. When I let them know that we had, shared the information, I believe it's been publicized in the town social media as well. And that I actually got the information from a number of coworkers. So it sounds like they've been very actively trying to get other boards and committees, effectively invested in participating and also being ambassadors. They wanted to ask if there was something that if we would want it as a commission partner with them in being ambassadors to this film or further promote that. I didn't know what that necessarily meant, but I wanted to like at least bring it to the group to see if we have any ideas about how to help them spread the word on the film series that is going on right now.
I think they've done a really good job of publicizing it.
I've
I
seen
think
it a
so.
lot.
I've seen it
Yeah.
lots of places, yeah.
Back to the last issue for a
Karen?
second. Only tangentially related in terms of a ramp. Maureen, I'm wondering if you know if the ramp that the council has been actively borrowed. Do
We
you know?
have it. Took us a while to get it, but we do have it. And I was actually going to I had a friend over this weekend and I wanted to try it out, but such a mess. She would have had to have tried to get over the snow based on my path coming up to my front house. It just was a mess. So we put off kind of doing a pilot. I really want to have somebody use it before we publicize it and just to make sure that it actually does what it's supposed to do. But I have to say, they look great. They're really sturdy. The one that's longer, there's a 2 foot one and a 5 foot one. Not 2 foot, that's not right. There's a smaller one and a larger one, 5 foot and 8 foot. And the 8 foot one is heavy. That's the only thing. It's like it's heavy for somebody to have to carry. It's about 50 pounds, which we knew, but you're like, if you really need it, you can probably, get it going and all that. But they're very good quality. I think they're going to work out really nicely. We just really want to pilot them first. We want to have somebody use it and give us the all clear before we start getting the
Right.
word out.
I'm
We
thinking
have
that
it stored. We have it stored right now near our medical equipment closet. Just because there's so much in there right now. We don't want this blocking the other items. And people have seen it and noticed and asked our office manager, like, are those what I think they are? And are you going to be loaning those out? And so people, there's a need. I mean, we knew there was a need, but people seem very keen on getting those out there. And I'm going to try to do it as quickly as I can, but the weather has been just so awful to pilot it with ice and snow and everything.
right. Well, I'm thinking once that's up and running, it's something we can share with the shop owners as well, that if they want to take a look at what it looks like or see how it's used,
Right.
we have one in town that you can.
Yeah. I want to take a picture of my friend using it and then we can share it and say this was a grant from the Needham Commission on Disabilities and it's now available from the Needham Community Council. But I mentioned it to that woman at that shop, Mickey, and I said, I happen to work for the Community Council and we just got a grant for a portable ramp. We haven't gotten them yet, but they're coming and it's something you can keep in your store and fold out and use when somebody, you could put something on your window indicating you have, a ramp or something so that somebody knows there is a way in. And she was like, oh, wow, I didn't know they sold that kind of stuff. I didn't know you could get a portable ramp. How much do they cost and all this other stuff? So she was interested in that, but it was for personal use. She has a father that was in a wheelchair. And I'm like, it still didn't connect to her that your business should be accessible. And this is an answer. It was a very, at some point, I just had to let it go because she wasn't getting it. And, but yeah, yes, we could. We definitely could say this is a solution, a potential solution. And we bought both of those for, was about $789. So it would be less than 500 for a business to have to invest in getting their own ramp, which is not cheap. I know that, but it's something it's not exorbitant either.
Yeah.
Marie, do you think it would be helpful to have the senior center advertise it in their Compass newsletter?
I think we are going to get plenty of requests for it once we put it out there. My concern is there's only two, and that we also have to limit how long people can keep it because currently, like the equipment that you borrow from us, it's just bring it back when you're done with it. But we can't do that with the ramps. You can't say keep it for a month. We're going to say there's like a 5-day limit. Like you have to just bring it back when your guest has left or bring it back as soon as you can because there's only two of them and we're going to need to kind of get them out to as many people as we can, and we can't do that if you hold on to it indefinitely.
And maybe too that once people see, because a lot of people may not be aware that something like that's available, and maybe if somebody needs it more long term, if they're able to purchase it themselves, at least they would have a resource of where to go to for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could certainly share where we got them. And again, really, seemingly very good quality, very sturdy pieces of equipment. A little heavy if you have one that has to go up multiple stairs, but the one that only gets you up like 2 steps, it's like 25 pounds or 30 pounds. I mean, it's really easy for anybody to lift, I think, and set up. So
Great.
yeah.
On the
Um,
disability film series, I was just looking at the January minutes and it looked like Karen was planning to reach out to Jen to share some of the ways that NCOD could provide some marketing support for their film series.
One
But
was that slide, right? Was to create like
yeah,
a slide with our information on it.
yeah, to see
Which
if we also wanted an opportunity to sort of promote the NCOD at their event,
yeah.
which I think was not exactly what they were asking, um, but I think she was planning to reach out to Jen just to say that, you know, the ways that we could support by either attending or sharing in the news you need them the week before the screening or
Yep.
posting on, you know, the Facebook channels. But I guess I don't know if she's done that yet, but those are all things that are available to them directly as well. So I don't know that, you know, that's sort of a unique ad unless it's seen as a benefit that the NCOD is in some way endorsing the film series.
Mm.
okay, let's move on to the current initiatives, beginning with autism welcoming training.
I mentioned it last month, but we're finally, after so long, having our first business train their employees, and that's Valente Farms. So gold star to Valentes for being taking the maiden voyage here. And they're doing it on the 25th. So it's coming up like next week. They'll be doing it. And I had mentioned to her too that asked her to please take some photos. I asked if it would be okay if I kind of just called her. I really wanted feedback and I wanted to just, really get her honest opinion. And I told her, you're the first one. It's taken us a while and we really want to know if you found it worthwhile because that will help us promote it, encourage other businesses. So I had also told her too that the Observer had started sort of drafting some article like a year ago now, probably. And we held off because we wanted an example and we wanted some real like life experience of a business owner or employee that could talk about the training and the value it added and all that stuff. So I'm going to reach out to the Observer again and say, we've actually got that client that you can talk to. And hopefully they will do a story on it. I hope. And I hope it goes well. And I have another call into the common room to see if they are actually now going to have time now that they've been in business for it's been longer than that. They've been in business for almost 10 months now. So I'm hoping that they will train their employees because he seemed very motivated to do it. He has a son, an adult son with autism. So to him, it really, I think, just was important. It was just a big ask to do when they were just starting to open their doors. So that's where that stands. And Michelson's, I just continue not to hear back from them. So I don't think I'm gonna follow up anymore. They know where to find me.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, we don't have Karen to give an update on the Good Neighbor Award.
Well, I do have her survey up if we want to take a look at it. She did send it out to all of us after the last meeting.
Oh, right,
Do you want me to pop that up?
sure.
I don't remember that.
Tasha, can I share?
Let me see if you should be good
Yeah.
now.
Okay, so this was the survey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did everybody have a chance to look at this?
Yes.
I don't remember if I did.
We are the Needham Commission on Disabilities.
Yep. So, I mean, this looks pretty straightforward. This talks about, why and our first recipient. And then, it has, you record your email. Which business would you like to nominate? Why? How have they gone above and beyond? And there's an open text box if these things, don't apply. But And then how have you benefited? And then there's the optional question.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's really good.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good, so I don't know what the next steps are. I mean, I think maybe we could talk about what would the next step be. Tatiana, do you know in terms of launching this?
I just wanted to, I don't know if you caught me, but we are the Needham Commission on Disabilities. I think she has counsel.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So if it's all set to go, I think we place it on our website, right?
Yeah,
As far as publicizing it though.
In the page, oh, we need to do something in News You Need 'em or the
Yeah.
something. Or
yeah.
else
or
people aren't
the
gonna
Facebook
find it.
pages, social media, things like that.
I think
Yeah.
maybe when we get the feedback on the class at Volantes, it can kind of be a 2-for-1 story the observer could do. Here are some things the council or committee on or commission on disabilities is doing that might make a nice 1-2 punch.
Good idea.
Yeah. Is there any, I agree, Lynn. I think it's nice to add, what we're doing now, these new programs. But is there a limit, or did we discuss that there's any limit that we're going to have to how many are given in any year? Or if it's just as we receive them, we review those nominations and just make decisions on a kind of rolling basis?
Well, I have recommended, and Amy also had recommended that we actually put together a 1-page document on what this looks like, so that we can point to people for guidance
Mhm.
and all of that, but it doesn't sound like that happened first. But I think the reason why, we have been hesitant to move forward is because a program has not been memorialized.
Right.
And I think we need that first before
Yeah.
we start accepting nominations.
Yeah.
I agree. So we can loop back. I can send a note back to Karen saying that we shared the survey tonight, and could she develop a 1-page? I'm just trying to keep us moving ahead. Could she develop a 1-pager for review at the March meeting about a program overview and how it would work? So
What
you
are the
could,
rules? Yeah, how many times can someone nominate a
yeah,
business?
yeah, an overview, the guidelines, how it would work, and then we could talk about the next steps and how to publicize it and how to, all the things that we just talked about. So I'll shoot her that note.
Great. Okay, Pardee, do you have any updates for us?
Hold the audio now.
Yes, I talked with Aisha from Senior Center, and I also talked with Tina Laffer from Carroll Center, who will be the speaker person. We talked about the topics that she will be covered. And today I sent you all one email about those topics. I hope you received it. It's all about the topics we are going to talk. The dates will be April 3rd, 12 to 2. Both Aisha and Tina were okay with this time and date. And we
April
can,
3rd.
sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, did you say it was April 3rd?
April 3rd, 12 to 2, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And we can do it with that $500 because we thought that if we have about maybe 35, for example, guests, so each person $10, Aisha believed. So, we can pay the refreshment and lunch, and we can pay the speaker person. Aisha also said that they will pay if we need more guests, so money won't be the issue. So we won't need more than that $500. So I also in that email sent you one thing that, because I think in next maybe week or so the newsletter of Senior Center will be released. So I thought if you agree with the something similar with what I wrote in that email. We can email and we can write it in that newsletter, so we can, you know, advertise in this. I think we have about maybe 2 months, less than 2 months, so we can go to, you know, advertise and find our audience.
Can I ask where the $500 amount come from?
We had talked about when we were doing our budget with Miles about, you know, using $500, you know, to sponsor or support a program in the community.
Right, but so I just want to be clear that everyone understands that money won't be, if approved, that money won't be available to us until July 1st of next year.
Right, but we have money in this year's budget, right?
Right, so I just wanted to, like,
Yep.
what we have in the budget for this year is $550.
Right.
For the entire budget. So if that goes, and we don't have any other, I mean, we'll have $550 remaining, which is fine. I just want to make sure that we are clear on that.
Yes,
The amount that you requested is if approved.
for next year. Yep, yep.
Perfect.
But we didn't spend all as hard as we tried. We didn't spend last year's budget, and I don't think we have any expenses so far this year.
Right. We haven't spent our budget for this year yet. Yeah.
Yep, and if it's, you know, February now and then ends in June, I think if, you know, I want to spend the $550 that we do have. So I'm in support of, and I think we authorized it already in the
Yes.
previous minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to, we can, you know, save some money, make it, I don't know.
I think 500 is fine because we don't have anything else to spend the money on.
Okay.
And we should spend, especially since we requested more, I absolutely want to spend what we do have.
So, or if you can tell me if you want to add or remove something to that text I wrote. So maybe in next, for example, a couple of days, if you can tell me by Friday, that I can then fix it with Aisha to add it to their newsletter. I appreciate it.
I think it might be too late for the newsletter because I know they do them 2 months at a time. So it would probably be March, January, February, probably March, April issue. And they send them out to the printer, feels like weeks and like months in advance. So I don't know that we'll get it in the paper newsletter, unfortunately. But she sends out reminders, and I would say if she could just do a good job of, she needs to be prodded to send out reminders, by the way. So just so that people don't forget about it, you do have to remind them again and again. And Aisha needs to be reminded to send those reminders. So you might want to just note that, because if we're spending the money, we want a good group, and you have to remind people, or it just doesn't happen.
Yep.
So maybe we can, if we cannot write it in newsletter, we can write the note and put it somewhere in, I mean, for example, on front desk or places that people can see it there. And also in their, because they have a low vision group, we can use that group also to advertise. So yeah, we have to be stronger, don't, because it's there, if there is no newsletter. So yeah, we have to find ways to advertise better.
Flyers work really well in their like lobby area, because everybody comes through the lobby. So if you could post something near the elevator, that gets people's attention. That definitely be there for, a couple weeks, and that would probably help. But I like the write-up. It's good. There's a lot of good information that's going to be shared.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on to committee updates. We do not have a rep from the school department with us. And accessible parking, Felix is not here, but Officer Kelly, anything that you've noticed in terms of accessible parking?
Kelly, it's hard to hear you. All of a sudden, still not.
Faintly, you're not very strong.
I can't.
You can type it in the chat. We can read it. So Jeannie, maybe we move on and see what she types in the chat.
Diversity Initiative, Lynn.
So they had a Martin Luther King celebration at the high school. I had planned on attending, but if you recall, that was a very snowy morning. So I actually thought they might cancel it, but they decided to go ahead. So I don't know how it turned out, but they did still have it. The other thing that they've been talking about a lot lately on social media is
Hold the audio now on mute.
the this past Saturday they had their first what they're calling a solidarity gathering. They had it at the Needham Heights Common, and it was really just to call attention to, they said it was to show solidarity and commitment to our continued creation of a welcoming and diverse community. So their plan is to have it the second Saturday of every month for the foregoing future. So it looked like they, from the pictures I saw, it looked like they had, a fair number of people that attended. And according to what I saw on their updates, they had a lot of people honking, etc. So this is something they were doing. That's it.
Thank you. Maureen, any news from the Emergency Planning Committee?
No, I said in the last meeting, and I don't know where they are with kind of developing that new charter for and restructuring the whole committee. So I had asked to be informed when they had their first meeting after all that was approved and been running, and I haven't heard a thing. So I don't think they've been meeting from what I can gather.
Okay.
So I don't have anything.
Is there any new business? Okay. All right. Well, just a reminder that we're meeting on the 2nd rather than the 3rd Tuesday in March.
Okay.
And I guess maybe we should look forward to April, because that probably falls during another school vacation week, correct?
Actually, it doesn't. It looks like April is one of those, we're getting 5 Tuesdays, so it looks like we'll meet on the 15th, which is a week before.
Right, because April 1st is on a Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. Well, if that's it, thank you all for attending, and I will see you next month.
Okay.
Hold the
Hey,
audio.
everyone.
See you.
All
Bye.
right, have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.